What if I told you that you can fall head over heels in love with yourself? I'm talking that all-consuming, can't get enough, love everything about you type of love. Well, you can. The Self Plus Love Equals Balance podcast is here to show you how. Every week, we'll share tested strategies, personal stories, and invaluable resources to help you take a balanced approach to loving yourself. Here's your host, Carrie, the Balanced Nurse. Let's get to the love.
Hey ladies, welcome back to another episode of the Self Plus Love Equals Balance podcast. I am severely grateful for those of you that are returning, and for those who are new, welcome, and I hope that you enjoy our vibe today. Today I wanted to talk about the elephant in the room, really, when it comes to we're here in the beginning of the year. People are setting their goals. People are working on their dreams or pushing forward towards what their dreams are. But there's a silent killer that is not being addressed. And I thought that I would take this platform and this episode to be able to address it, really in hopes of helping you really make this journey as enjoyable as possible and not bringing along unnecessary passengers to ride shotgun on this journey that you're on. Me and my crazy analogies, but for some reason, I think a lot of you appreciate it. So, listen, before I get started with the episode, just to get housekeeping and all that good stuff out of the way, I'll remind you at the end of the episode as well, too. But if you would like to vibe with me more on a one-on-one level, for my coaching or any other services that I provide, please feel free to reach out to me. My website is www.thebalancedrn.com. You're able to go on there, book a session if you'd like. The info is also in the link of the episode of wherever you're listening. And of course, I'm always very responsive to any questions or feedback that you might have. So you can reach out to me on my email, which is info@thebalancedrn.com. And now that all that good stuff is out the way, let's get back to our dreams. All right, so here we are. We're getting ready to get into February. Those of you that are New Year resolutions type of people are well into your way of getting things done and pushing forward towards the goal that you've set for yourself. And so let's talk about that. So you set these beautiful and amazing goals for yourself. You've possibly spent some time, hopefully have spent some time daydreaming about what it is that you would like to accomplish, what you'd like your life to be. Really envisioning yourself in the full swing of whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. And then you're taking this time and you are finding that courage to start moving forward to really take action towards accomplishing these things. And what happens? We turn it into a very negative and painful experience because we've decided to get in the car and invite this unwanted passenger called impatient to ride shotgun with us on our journey to where we're going. And it really makes things so much more difficult for us. It really takes away from, the importance of enjoying the actual journey. And I know that that's a metaphor that some people roll their eyes at, but it's such a necessary and important metaphor or analogy to appreciate as you are trying to accomplish something. Because let's face it, when we say that we want to do something, there's always another level that once we accomplish that, we now want to go here. We now want to do this. I remember when I got married, and it's like the first week after the wedding, and they're like, okay, so now when are you having babies? I'm like, what? I haven't even changed my last name yet. So there's always that next step that we have. Or we're pushing forward towards when we finally accomplish the goal that we set for ourselves. So to really put a little bit more perspective into why impatience is such a silent killer, I want to paint a picture for you. So, whether you're someone that likes to cook or not, just kind of see with me here. So, when you're going to prepare a meal, no matter how simple or complicated the meal itself is, there's a level of work that you have to do. You gotta get the ingredients for this thing. You have to study the recipe. If you're anything like me, you got to set the vibe right for you to get into the mood of cooking this meal. Make sure that the timing is right. You're putting it all together, whether you're putting it in the crock pot, the oven, you're staying up at the stove, or whatever it is, there's a level of work and strategy that you have to do to put all the ingredients together for this particular meal. And then, what's the most important part of whatever meal that you are making? And I don't care if it's scrambled eggs or lasagna, whatever it is, there comes that point that everything that you've done, you now have to wait. You have to wait. You have to be patient while all your hard work comes together to bring forth this amazing meal that you've put together, right? And what happens if we try to take that meal out too early, or we just, whip it up really quick because I gotta have it right now. I gotta have it right now. I mean, sure, it's not the end of the world, but you end up having something that's not as gourmet or ideal or as amazing as it could have been if you would have allowed it to cook a little longer, as far as what it is intended to do in order to bring forth what you originally set out for, right? So if we look at our goals as a meal that we're trying to prepare, you don't want to now ruin your meal, i.e., your goals or your dreams, by sprinkling impatience in a recipe where it's not even called for. That's not part of the ingredients of this meal that we're making. I mean, if you reflect on the last time that you rushed in on something prematurely, or you jumped the gun on something, you probably found that the result really wasn't all that. It wasn't all that you wanted it to be. Or furthermore, on the other side of the spectrum, maybe you weren't ready for the results. Maybe you really couldn't handle what it is that you were trying to rush in for, what you were being impatient about, right? And it brings me to the point that I'd like to kind of plant as a seed for you on how to really handle impatience as you're working on this journey of yours, as you're working towards your goals, as you're trying to accomplish your dreams. Really, we're human, right? So we are going to experience these type of feelings. And so if you find that you are growing impatient as you're trying to accomplish something, that's a nudge, that's a sign. That's the ring the alarms, the red flag that's saying, you know what? It's time to stop and evaluate your readiness, right? So, whatever it is that you're working towards, feeling impatient, like, oh, I can't wait, I can't wait. It is that, you know what? Hold on. Do I have all my ducks in a row for what it is that I feel that I cannot wait for? Right. So just kind of throwing some examples out there. So, say it's a matter of a certain amount of money that you are working towards. Okay, if I had this amount of money right now, am I ready and can I handle what comes with having it? What would I do with it? Am I ready for the responsibilities? The next step that comes after having that amount of money, right? Because it's not just accomplishing that goal. We have to make sure that we have this readiness to be able to shift into the next phase, right? If it's a relationship, if my soulmate or that perfect relationship came along right now, am I ready for the sacrifice? Am I ready to, take care of what I have going on, my toxic habits? Am I ready to, clean out my emotional baggage? so that I'm not sabotaging something that I have been wishing for and working towards and looking for this particular person, right? Only to have it be something that, you're experiencing unnecessary hiccups and negativity because that time that we were supposed to be preparing in that period where you decided to be impatient, we're taking away from all of the beauty that we can experience when we actually accomplish that goal, right? So basically, if your goal or your ultimate desire came along right now to pacify your impatience, would you be able to handle it? Right. And I become impatient all the time. So I'm not telling you this like it's something that once you get this down, you're good for the rest of your life. No, whenever you start to work on things, we have to exist in our beingness, right? And part of that is that we experience certain sensations, we go through certain things that we're constantly having to flex our muscles as far as the work that we're doing. So now it's time to develop and flex our patience. That muscle of patience when we start to, especially as your goals get bigger. As your goals get bigger, there's more work that you're going to have to do. You have to exercise more patience because there's more that comes with it, right? So, one of the ways that I handle it even now is I I really understand the fact that it is impossible to plan and worry at the same time. Planning can take up your entire day, and worrying can take up your entire day. But there's only one of those choices that lead to productivity, right? And so, if we're working towards something, what do you want to spend your time doing? Because you're not any closer by spending an entire day or more with worrying. So I always get into planning mode. Like once I find that oh gosh, why is this taking so long? Or why am I feeling so uneasy? Why isn't I grab whether you have your planner, journal, notebook, what have you, I grab my planner and I start evaluating what am I doing right now? What do I need to do to get to where it is that I'm trying to go? And all of a sudden, it just flows. You start to see that there's things, I really need to get to bed earlier. Or, something, maybe I need to do this. Or, let me make this phone call because maybe that person, you start to get all of these ideas. You start to realize that something that you might be overlooking that is causing you to have a detour on this journey of yours, you definitely get down as far as more so into action as opposed to being heightened in that anxiety, that impatience phase, because it leaves us in a space of stagnancy. Like when we are impatient, um, it's not propelling us forward at all. We end up stuck no matter what that goal is. And so consider your journey. It's kind of like you're forever in a traffic jam, right? So that's why I say that things like impatience, or not things, but this particular concept of impatience is a dream killer, is because you'll have this dream that's waiting for you to just come and meet it. And the goal is for you to enjoy the journey as you're getting there. It's kind of like taking a long road trip, right? I remember when my mom used to take us on our road trip to my aunt who lived in Syracuse at the time. And my favorite part, outside of like being super excited to go and see them, the long road trip for me was exciting. Like I had my games that I would bring. I had games planned that my brother and I would play. I had books that I had planned for that journey. Even though I was super excited about where I was going, it made the trip that much more enjoyable, right? But if we're stuck in this traffic jam and, holding on tightly to, oh gosh, why don't I have it? You're missing out on the best part. The part where you're realizing, oh, you know something, I'm not this isn't working for me. I'm going to have to make sure that instead of 2 times a week, I'm doing this 3 times a week. Or maybe I need to see if I can get some help in this department because I need my energy in that department. Or, maybe I don't want to meet my soulmate at a club. Maybe I need to go more so to poetry spots, whatever it is that you are strategizing, you are able to do that in place of being impatient, and you're in that action mode. So your dream isn't dying. If anything, you're watering that dream, because now it's you're moving more so into action. You're owning it more so as opposed to just staying stuck in that space of impatience, bringing down your energy with negativity. Because when we become impatient, our mind takes over. The negative Nancy takes over. You start to feel like you're not worthy, right? So if we consider, for those of us that are in the working force, consider this, like most jobs or positions, they have an orientation period where, you know, it, afterwards a certain amount of time, whether it's 30, 60, 90 days, your progress is evaluated to determine, are you ready to fly solo? Do you need a little bit more time? Is this the right job or field for you, right? We are accepting of that. We are kind of, used to that. However, when it comes to ourselves, where we are embarking on something that's new for us, we fail to do that. We decide today that you want to, take up yoga, and by next week, it's, I'm not doing this. I'm not flexible enough. Or you decide today that you want to start your business, and by next month, it's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not making any money. But we're not giving ourselves that orientation period where we evaluate our progress, and if something needs to be tweaked. Do we need to do something a little bit differently? Do we need to kind of adjust, but not just outright fail, right? The old school thought is that it takes 21 days to develop a habit. That has now progressed to somewhere around 66 to 90 days to develop a habit. I mean, my opinion is, throwing things like distractions and all that other good stuff, we need a little bit more time to make something regular for us, as people. And what does that mean? It gives us room to be humans. We have to be kind to ourselves as we work towards our goal, right? That time period that it takes for us to develop a habit, and it could be whatever it is that you want, whether it's a physical habit, whether it's a habit that's, helping you as far as your professional goals, your relationship goals, whatever. It takes consistency, and it also takes in that time, action steps like, reevaluating, strategizing, but always staying in a space of doing it. Not getting upset because you have to do these things, and oh gosh, why can't I just have it already? Because you're not ready. That's why. The short answer is because you're not ready, right? And for us that are moms that have gone through the pregnancy, I'll tell you firsthand, pregnancy was no joke. By 5 or 6 months, I wanted out. I was done. I'm like, this kid is taking over my body. I feel like I'm not in control. I'm always having to re strategize. This week, I like that. The next week, I want something that I've never had before. However, the desire that I had as far as wanting the healthiest baby possible, that trumped my impatience. And I know that as moms, that, and this is, in the most traditional sense, I know we all have hiccups when it comes to, our journeys as moms and just pregnancies. But if you just, take the analogy for what it is, our want for our children when it comes to wanting them to have the best and even better than what we've had. You want a healthy baby. You weren't running to that doctor to say, no, no, I'm all set. 6 months, take this thing out. I need my body back. I want to eat how I want to eat. I need to wear heels. I need to go here and there. No, you had to be patient. You had to be patient because the benefits of having a healthy and beautiful baby was much more important than your anxiety or stress that you were creating in a space of impatience, right? So your goals and your dreams, they are just as, if not more beautiful than the concept of, okay, the pregnancy and having a baby. Your goals and your dreams are your baby, so don't treat them like drive through material, you know, pull up, I want this, drive to the next window, thanks, bye bye. Throw the bag, in the back seat when you're done eating. That is not this. This is the time of, let me go to the grocery store. Let me pick up these ingredients. Let me read these steps. All right, let me turn the oven to this time, or let me get the crock pot out. Let me get this pot out. This is the time of planning and taking those steps, right? You're really embracing the stage of getting ready so that you can really appreciate what it is that you've done to get you to this goal, right? So if it's that relationship that you're after, you need to start loving on yourself like crazy. And I'm so glad that we're in a time that that is no longer cliche. You're realizing that the way that we love on ourselves, they are an example to whoever it is that we're inviting in this space, right? So start working on your issues. You have daddy issues, you have, health issues, you have baggage issues, you're still angry over something your ex did, you don't feel right in your physical body. Exercise, eat right, heal, find a hobby, get passionate. You know, all of the things that normally ruin a relationship. You're bad at your money, start working on budgeting, get your money right. Because these are the things that when that soulmate does come along and after that honeymoon period is done, you don't want to be in a space of now, oh gosh, it's more to work through, than as opposed to being able to focus solely on just that connection. Heal now. Heal now so you can reap the benefits of that beautiful relationship that you so passionately want, that you're impatient about, right? Because that impatience is nudging you to say, girl, get ready, start to start to exercise, start to eat right, start to work on those friends, those negative Nancys that really don't want you in a good relationship. And yeah, let's get rid of those. If it's that career or that profession or that business that you want, start evaluating, what are you doing right now? Where do you want to go? How much do you want to make? Like, these are the it's not just the picture that you're looking at. These are the questions you want to ask yourself, because then that's going to push you to make certain moves, certain decisions, do things a little bit differently. So maybe you will start having better time management. Maybe you will make that phone call. Maybe you will network. Maybe you will pay attention to where you're paying attention, or what and who has your attention, because, ultimately you want to make career moves, professional moves, business moves. That there's certain level of sacrifice that you have to make in regards to your time, your energy, your attention. It's, are you ready to focus on your money? And if so, what do you, how healthy is your relationship with money? So these are all things that when you're in a space of feeling impatient, it's just that nudge to say, oh, hold on, let's get that planner out. What are we doing right now? What's the last book that you read on whatever it is that you're wanting to do? Let's increase our personal worth, right? Or health. You want better health. All right, let's not focus on, oh, I need to lose these 60 pounds. I wish that I could lose these 60 pounds. No, let's start with, okay, by next week this time, I want to be down 2 or 3 pounds. Let me clean out this refrigerator. You know what? I am not stopping at Wendy's this week, or let me prepare my foods. You know what? This week I am just eating out of my lunchbox. What are you doing right now that you can change so that you are that close, you're that much closer to your physical goal? Right. So the impatience, I feel that it has helped me on my journey because it is kind of like I'm envisioning like a wink. It's a wink to say, hey, you're almost there. You want to check yourself a little bit. You want to check your strategy because it's on its way. And I just need you to be ready. So why don't we start getting some things in place? I hope that this helps. I think it's right on time for quite a bit of people, just seeing that it's the new year, it's the beginning of a new decade. There's so many things we want to accomplish by the end of the year. And what I've been finding in conversation is just how quickly time goes by, whether we spend it productively or not. So at this point, I'm hoping that this message is right on time for you, where it's like, I have the choice as to how I can spend this journey, because either way, the time is going to go by. Right. So my hope for you is that you're able to take this analogy and start to plan this meal of yours when it comes to your goal or your dream. If you're in a space of feeling impatient, if you are in a space of feeling frustrated, your task today is to get out your journal, your planner, your notebook, and now evaluate. Evaluate what you're currently doing. I promise you that in that space of evaluation, you are going to recognize that there are some things that needs a little bit of tweaking. There's some planning that needs to be done. There's some strategizing that needs to be done. Okay. And once you're able to pick up on those things, your next step is to now take action. Okay. So now that I have figured out that I need to get to bed earlier, I am, shutting off my phone at this time. TV goes down. Kids are going down earlier. You're starting to think differently, because now these are no longer things that it's like, yeah, I know. Your impatience gave you that little wink to say, you know what, it's time to do things a little bit differently if this is really where you want to go. Okay. So I am so grateful. I'm so grateful that you ladies have taken the time to vibe with me today. Me being able to pour into you is my own medicine on this journey of mine. So, of course, as I mentioned, if you want to vibe with me on more of a personal level, you want to coach with me, you can definitely access my website via the link in this episode. It's www.thebalancedrn.com. You're able to book a session right online. And in the meantime, until we connect next week, make sure you just do your math a little bit differently. All right? Bye.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Self plus Love equals Balance. Be sure to rate and review us on whatever app you use to listen. It goes a long way in helping others find our community. Until then, remember to do your math a little differently and love yourself.